Have you ever received a hopeful call claiming revolutionary stroke rehabilitation could restore movement you thought was lost forever? Arthur Gonzalez, a 72-year-old retired teacher from San Antonio, Texas, who had suffered a stroke 6 months earlier, leaving him with limited arm mobility, thought he was getting a second chance at recovery when neurological specialists called about breakthrough rehabilitation therapy. Within 5 days, he had paid $19,500 for fake stroke treatment that actually worsened his condition. Arthur's story reveals how medical scammers target stroke survivors with recovery promises, using their desperate hope to regain lost function as powerful manipulation tools. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how these fake rehabilitation specialists operate and learn the warning signs that could protect stroke survivors and their families. Stay until the end, because Arthur's experience shows how fake stroke treatments can cause actual neurological setbacks while stealing money, making these among the cruelest scams targeting vulnerable stroke survivors. The Recovery Hope Call. It was a Friday morning in March when Arthur's phone rang with a call that would exploit his deepest recovery desires. He had just finished his prescribed home exercises when his caller ID showed what appeared to be a neurological rehabilitation. Center number: Mr. Gonzalez? This is Dr. Amanda Richardson from the Advanced Stroke Recovery Institute. I'm calling about breakthrough neuroplasticity therapy that could restore significant movement to your affected arm based on your stroke recovery profile. Arthur felt immediate excitement mixed with skepticism. After 6 months of limited progress in traditional therapy, the possibility of meaningful recovery was incredibly appealing. Dr. Richardson continued with impressive neurological authority and stroke rehabilitation terminology. Mr. Gonzalez, we've developed revolutionary neural stimulation therapy that activates dormant brain pathways following stroke. Your specific stroke location and recovery timeline make you an ideal candidate for this breakthrough treatment. The caller knew Arthur's stroke details, his teaching background, and even referenced his current therapy progress. This personal medical knowledge made the opportunity seem credible and specifically tailored to his situation. I need to explain how significant this breakthrough is. Traditional stroke therapy often plateaus after 6 months, but our neuroplasticity protocols can continue recovery for years by retraining undamaged brain areas, building rehabilitation. Hope. Dr. Richardson continued using sophisticated stroke rehabilitation terminology that Arthur found both impressive and believable. She described brain recovery and neural therapy with medical expertise that seemed legitimate. Your stroke affected the motor cortex, but surrounding areas can be retrained to compensate through intensive neural stimulation. Our proprietary therapy combines electrical stimulation with cognitive retraining to rebuild neural pathways. She explained that Arthur's educational background meant he would understand the science behind brain recovery. Arthur had indeed been reading about neuroplasticity and was frustrated with his therapy progress. Teachers like yourself typically respond excellently to our cognitive motor integration protocols because your brain is already trained for complex learning. This therapy could restore 70–80% of your lost arm function. Dr. Richardson created urgency by explaining that stroke recovery windows were limited, and Arthur's 6-month timeline was approaching the critical intervention period when meaningful improvement remained possible. We need to begin intensive neuroplasticity therapy within 1 week to maximize your recovery potential. This specialized treatment costs $19,500. But it could restore the independence you've lost since your stroke. The Neural Recovery Protocol. Dr. Richardson explained that Arthur needed immediate neural stimulation therapy to activate dormant brain pathways. The specialized protocol involved advanced equipment and intensive sessions designed for his specific stroke pattern. Emergency. Stroke recovery therapy requires immediate payment because we must reserve specialized neural stimulation equipment and coordinate intensive therapy schedules. Standard insurance processing would delay treatment beyond the optimal recovery window. She provided Arthur with specific stroke rehabilitation codes and neuroplasticity treatment authorization numbers that sounded official. Dr. Richardson seemed to have detailed knowledge of stroke recovery and spoke with authority about rehabilitation. Procedures. Consider this investment in reclaiming your life. This therapy could restore your ability to write, use tools, and regain the hand function that defines your independence as an educator. Dr. Richardson created additional pressure by explaining that the therapy program only accepted limited patients each month, and Arthur needed to secure his position before other stroke survivors filled available treatment slots. Based on your stroke recovery profile, we've reserved intensive therapy specifically for your case. Neuroplasticity doesn't wait, and recovery intervention requires immediate commitment. The payment desperation. Arthur felt overwhelmed by recovery hope and the pressure to seize this rehabilitation opportunity immediately. Dr. Richardson had created such convincing neurological possibility that questioning the therapy seemed like accepting permanent disability. He agreed to the intensive treatment. Dr. Richardson guided him through the payment process, explaining that the Stroke Recovery Center required wire transfer to secure his rehabilitation slot and begin equipment preparation. Advanced neuroplasticity protocols require immediate wire transfer to guarantee specialized equipment availability and neural stimulation device calibration. This is standard procedure for intensive stroke recovery intervention. At the wire transfer location, Arthur hesitated when asked about the payment purpose. Dr. Richardson, still on the phone, coached him to explain it was for stroke rehabilitation therapy, which sounded medically legitimate. Arthur sent $1,900, believing he was investing in movement recovery. Dr. Richardson assured him that therapy would begin within days and provided detailed preparation instructions for neural stimulation treatment. You've made a recovery-changing decision. This neuroplasticity therapy will restore movement you thought was lost forever and return your independence. The dangerous stroke treatment. The address Dr. Richardson provided led Arthur to a converted office space that appeared medical, but lacked proper neurological rehabilitation equipment and qualified stroke therapy professionals. The people claiming to be stroke specialists were not licensed rehabilitation professionals. They used improvised electrical devices and unregulated stimulation equipment that they claimed would activate his dormant neural pathways. The fake therapy sessions involved dangerous electrical stimulation that caused muscle spasms, pain, and unusual sensations in Arthur's affected arm. When he expressed concern, the fake therapists claimed this meant his neurons were reactivating. These intense sensations indicate your brain is forming new connections. Neuroplasticity therapy requires pushing through discomfort as dormant pathways reactivate and motor function returns. After a week of inappropriate electrical stimulation, Arthur's arm function had actually declined. His existing movement was more limited, his pain levels were higher, and he was experiencing new neurological symptoms. The neurological setback. Arthur's stroke recovery progress reversed significantly during the fake treatment period. He was experiencing increased muscle stiffness, reduced range of motion, and concerning neurological symptoms that hadn't existed before therapy. His daughter became alarmed when Arthur reported worsening function and insisted on accompanying him to his regular neurologist appointment. The doctor was immediately concerned by Arthur's condition and the story of unauthorized electrical therapy. Mr. Gonzalez, inappropriate electrical stimulation can cause nerve damage and muscle dysfunction in stroke patients. Whatever treatment you received has actually set back your recovery progress. Arthur's neurologist explained that unregulated electrical therapy could damage recovering neural pathways and cause complications that might require months to resolve. Your arm function was improving steadily before this treatment. These criminals have undone months of legitimate therapy progress and potentially caused permanent setbacks. The recovery. Truth Comprehensive Neurological Evaluation revealed that Arthur's stroke recovery had been progressing normally before the fake therapy intervention. The electrical stimulation had caused muscle and nerve irritation that compromised his existing function. Arthur's real rehabilitation team had to modify his therapy program to address the complications caused by inappropriate electrical stimulation. His recovery timeline had been significantly extended due to the setbacks. His neurologist was outraged that criminals had exploited stroke recovery hopes to administer dangerous treatments that actually harmed Arthur's rehabilitation progress. This is unconscionable. They used your hope for recovery to damage the progress you'd worked so hard to achieve while stealing your money. The investigation medical fraud investigators explained that Arthur had been targeted by a sophisticated operation that focused on stroke survivors using their recovery hopes as manipulation tools. The investigation revealed that the same group had scammed dozens of stroke survivors using similar fake rehabilitation scenarios. They had stolen over $900,000 while potentially causing permanent neurological damage through inappropriate electrical therapy. Police discovered that the scammers used detailed stroke survivor databases, fake rehabilitation credentials, and dangerous electrical devices designed to create believable neural stimulation experiences. Warning signs. Arthur missed. Looking back, Arthur identified several red flags he wished he had recognized. Unsolicited calls about breakthrough stroke treatments. Legitimate rehabilitation programs work through established medical referrals and don't make cold calls about revolutionary recovery therapies. Immediate payment demands for rehabilitation services. Real stroke therapy is coordinated through established medical facilities with proper insurance verification and gradual treatment progression. Promises of dramatic recovery beyond medical expectations. Legitimate stroke rehabilitation sets realistic goals based on individual recovery patterns and doesn't guarantee dramatic function restoration. Unregulated electrical therapy outside medical supervision. Established stroke rehabilitation uses approved equipment with qualified professionals and proper medical oversight. The recovery journey. While Arthur never recovered his 19,500 Lara, his neurological function gradually returned to pre-scam levels through legitimate rehabilitation therapy. His recovery progress resumed once the complications from fake treatment resolved. Arthur's experience led to increased awareness about stroke rehabilitation scams targeting survivors in his community. He began working with stroke support organizations to educate others about recovery fraud. Most importantly, Arthur learned to verify all rehabilitation opportunities through his established medical team before considering alternative treatments or experimental therapies. Final thoughts. Arthur's story demonstrates that stroke rehabilitation scams exploit survivors' most precious hope, the possibility of meaningful recovery. These criminals understand that stroke survivors will risk significant money for treatments promising to restore lost function. The key lesson from Arthur's experience is this: legitimate stroke rehabilitation is never sold through unsolicited phone calls requiring immediate payment. Real recovery therapy is coordinated through established medical channels with proper evaluation and realistic goal setting. If you receive calls about breakthrough stroke treatments or revolutionary rehabilitation, discuss them with your established medical team before taking action. Never begin intensive therapy based solely on phone sales presentations, regardless of how medically sophisticated they sound. Remember, protecting your stroke recovery means working with qualified rehabilitation professionals through legitimate medical channels, not paying scammers who exploit recovery hopes to sell dangerous treatments. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.